The traffickers laughed wildly as Pablo, as promised, put $100,000 in front of them, silencing them. Pablo brought in another boat of kids, and Seaview had been monitoring this the whole time. Once the kids were on the island, the cops sprang into action. The police rounded everyone up, and after counting, they found 54 kids. But there was no Maya among the kids, and hearing this, David's previously relaxed mood tightened again. Tommy shoved a photo in front of the trafficker showing a guy who definitely had a rough day. This is the treatment the traffickers get in prison. Seeing this, the trafficker fell apart, and when Tommy asked about Maya, he spilled everything. The trafficker sold Maya to the Scorpion. Hearing this, Tommy knew things were complicated. The Scorpion was troublesome and the terrain tough. The cops and military couldn't enter. Worse, they didn't know if Maya survived. Tommy asked David if the trip was worth it. At this point, old Bob piped up with a bright idea. Since there were outbreaks here, doctors could waltz right in. Who'd mess with a life-saving doctor, right? Hearing this, David found his direction and learned medical basics with old Bob before leaving. But just then, Tommy stopped them and handed over a syringe containing a mini-tracker. They could carry the syringe or stash it in their wallets, and old Bob got Tommy's hint immediately. So Tommy sent them to the southern bank, watching the boat drift, praying for their safe return. Unknown to them, a boat of men quickly approached. They fired, ignoring David's cries that he was a doctor. They boarded David's boat, roughly rummaging through everything. After realizing there were only vaccines, the soldiers declared that only one person could ride with them. The soldier ordered David to bring vaccines. He whispered to old Bob to be ready to flee if back by midnight. Meanwhile, Tommy checked the tracker on shore. Seeing David and old Bob, he hurriedly asked what happened. Old Bob simply replied, "From here on out, it's all on David," and then sat there in a daze. Thus, David was taken to the guerrilla living area, constantly scanning his surroundings to plan the best escape route. The soldier brought David face to face with the Scorpion, who looked him over and asked about the situation. David pulled out a paper explaining sickness required an emergency evacuation. The Scorpion just took out a lighter and set the paper on fire, thinking, who cares? David's a doctor, he can roam around here all he wants. David began to wander around, trying to locate Maya, and while passing a group of working girls, he suddenly spotted her. He softly called out her name. As Maya turned around, David suppressed his excitement and pretended to examine her. David told Maya he was there to rescue her, but due to the language barrier, their communication was hilariously awkward. This caught the Scorpion's attention, and he came over to check out the treasure David was trying to disguise. After what felt like an eternity, night fell. The Scorpion and soldiers drank and sang by the campfire, giving David a chance to search for Maya. After some sneaky navigating, David found Maya's room. He gently tapped her arm, and she immediately squealed. Although she reacted quickly, the Scorpion still sensed something was off and rushed back to investigate. David quickly explained things to Maya and told her how to play the Scorpion. The Scorpion then picked Maya up and moved toward the bed, clearly planning something shady. Maya stared at the floor, visibly distressed. But David wouldn't let the Scorpion win. He told her to close her eyes. Maya complied, but the Scorpion sensed something was off and chaos ensued, with David remaining calm under fire. Maya felt terrified, but hatred was stronger than fear. When she saw David take down the Scorpion, they could finally go home. They evaded enemies and left for the river unnoticed. Suddenly, someone entered the Scorpion's room and raised the alarm. The guards by the river, on hearing, looked toward the water, saw a boat missing, and chased. Old Bob and Tommy fixated on the tracker, spotted the Scorpion, but had no clue until a boat was found missing. As they were glued to the tracker, they noticed the position moving, signaling that David was on his way back, so they prepped for pickup. Even so, guerrilla fighters poured out and opened fire, but luckily Tommy's driving skills were out of this world. They successfully escaped home, and David finally returned Maya's necklace. She gazed at the necklace intently. Maya looked at David as if she understood something, yet she remained silent while they took her to the hospital. After a sleepless night, they both crashed hard. But morning broke, warm sunlight streamed in, signaling Maya's rebirth and David's redemption. When Maya woke up again, her father's voice filled her ears. The first thing she saw was him, and the tears just flowed. She rushed to hug her dad, trying to affirm this was real. After another embrace, Maya finally believed this was all true. As they boarded the plane, Maya kept locking eyes with her father, finally escaping the nightmare of her past. Back to what should be a happy life. In her room, everything was unchanged, and her favorite instruments were right where she left them. Maya gently tapped the drum, and heavenly notes flowed from her lips, unleashing a celebration of freedom. This motion picture is based on authentic real-life events. David worked closely with the police and rescued over 120 trafficked children when leaving Colombia, and Maya helped to apprehend more than 12. This was not just David's conviction, but also his wife's silent support. Maya was fortunate. After a harrowing experience, at least she returned alive. Many others are treated as blood slaves or sold for organs. In Southeast Asian waters, you can buy a fish slave for just $1,000. Fish slaves endure working from 20 to 22 hours a day.